Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime, NRG Stadium. Texans 5-5, Bills 7-3. Common opponent, Buccaneers. Texans, of course, should have won that game. Lost a narrow victory. It was squandered there on the fourth down. Rachel Toad doesn't make the tackle. Baker Mayfield leads to the win. They didn't tackle very well. A lot of mistakes in that game. And for the Texans going forward, you're looking at a team now that's improving. They've climbed back to the 500 level. They're in the thick of things, and now a win. They're 8th currently in the playoff standings, and this will position them very well. So they're competing with the Bills, the Jaguars, the Chiefs are behind them, and they have games against the Colts, 2 of them coming up, including next week on the road when they'll get C.J. Stroud back. Like we've talked about before. Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing? Marco, Mr. Optimistic, and Drew. Yes, sir. I'm live. Yep. And there'll be a replay of this, of course, tomorrow. And have time for all your questions. And so just a little preamble here, just about kind of recapping about this week and kind of the health situation with the Texans. I can give you a couple of personnel updates. Obviously, they've cleared. What's up, Nick? They cleared. They had Damon Arnett Jr. cleared waivers, visited today, signed a practice squad contract. Wasn't processed, but it will be. And then they claimed Damone Clark off waivers. Thank you. Appreciate that. Right off the bat. That's awesome. Thanks a lot. And Damone is a former starter for the Cowboys out of LSU. Had some spinal surgery at the start of his career, but has been pretty healthy since then. It's not a great linebacking core, so I think it's not like you're getting like an awesome player, but someone that at least could give you some quality depth. Okay, Mr. Optimistic, I'm hearing that they're going to go run it back with Titus Howard at right guard and Trent Brown at right tackle and Jaret Patterson over at left guard. So we'll see. He's healthy enough to play. I think they're going to stick with what they're doing. That's what I'm hearing. We'll see if they make any changes, but between now and game time. But that was the plan during these early, quick, short week practices. And on Damone, Nick, I think he's an okay player. He's got some size. He's a little bigger than some of the Texans linebackers at 6'3", 240. He's a pretty hard hitter. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he can run a little bit. I think he's a depth guy. I don't really look at him as a potential starter at this point. From left to right, Drew. Arian Turris, your left tackle, left guard. Jaret Patterson, center Jake Andrews, right guard. Titus Howard, right tackle. Trent Brown. I don't know if he lost his job, Marco. I think it's temporary, but that was the plan during the week. We'll see if they change it up again, and give Ed his job back. Ed's knee isn't great. He's still in a brace. He sprained his knee, and I think it's kind of a don't broke, don't fix it, to answer your question, Optimistic. I just feel like it worked. They liked having that situation with a big right side. I think it's all up in the air on next week as far as how they'll go forward, if this is going to be the lineup for a very long time, or if this is just kind of week to week. They seem and feel, obviously, guys, you see all the different combinations of the offensive line. They're very week to week, but it seems to be working lately. They're winning some games. They're 2-0 with Davis Mills. Money Mills rides again, starting against the Buffalo Bills, a team that's good at covering the pass and bad at covering the run. So they don't stop the run. Maybe Woody Marks has a big night. I think there'll be some short passes. They are really tough to throw deep on. Right, we were just talking about Damone Clark, Senior Bowl. I actually met him at that Senior Bowl when he was coming out of the draft out of LSU. New Orleans native, pretty big linebacker, about 6'3", 240. And he had a spinal injury, which cost him most of the first half of his rookie year. Got past that and got to a point now where he was a starter, and then they demoted him, Not a great sign that he was playing, that Kenneth Murray was playing more than him. Elevations are expected to be Jalen Mills and Johnny Carter again. So a corner, excuse me, in Carter that is going to play special teams, and Jalen Mills will play some safety. He can tackle, Nick. Yeah, he's a tackler. He's not like Kenneth Murray that gets blocked all the time. I like Kenneth, but man, it's been bad. There's some really bad tape of Kenneth Murray, and it's just been ugly. Watching him play the linebacker position, not good at all. I can't. I have no control over whether they rotate, Nick. They rotate if they want to, and it's not just Cole Popovich. You've got D'Amico Ryans involved, Nick Caley involved, Nick Caserio involved. It's a big picture organizational decision when they have these offensive linemen changing, adapting on the fly. But Davis has had enough time. It's not like some of the sacks were sacks he took, not just the offensive line being overwhelmed. Buffalo's got a couple of okay edges, some solid talent with Greg Rousseau and Joey Bosa. They don't have a ton of blitzes. They've got sometimes Terrell Bernard. They'll do that a little bit, and sometimes Cole Bishop. Cole Bishop's a very good safety, playing at a really high level. I hear you, Nick. I just wouldn't get emotionally attached to the offensive line. I mean, this isn't like the old Hogs or the old 49ers. I mean, this isn't a great offensive line. I wouldn't get attached. They're still trying to figure this whole thing out. How you doing, Paul? And guys, please give me your questions. Happy to go over it. Yeah, concussion protocol process. Good question from Brenda about Jalen Petrie. So Jalen, he got out of the symptoms. He had headaches. After the symptoms ended, he did a limited practice. So he didn't really do a full practice. Monday wasn't much of a practice at all. It was more of an estimated walkthrough. It was nothing. So Tuesday was the only real practice, and they didn't go full contact or anything like that. They weren't hitting out there. And then today is just a walkthrough. Like they said, estimated walkthrough again. And you saw everybody else is going to play except for Jamal Hill, C.J. Stroud, Jalen Petrie, Kaimi Fairburn is back. Matt Wright was cut. I mean, the protocol is, just to explain it quickly, you need a couple of practices. You need to be cleared by an independent neurologist. You need to have no symptoms. C.J. Stroud had first sensitivity to light, dark rooms, wearing sunglasses, that kind of thing. Then he had headaches too. So it was a multifaceted concussion, more severe than Petrie. But they're doing what's best for the players. They want to give them every chance to heal up. I think Jalen would play safety and Petrie will play nickel. I don't think that they want to move Petrie to safety. They've seen that. They've watched that movie before. I don't know if they're going to be able to get a lot of... we were talking about that, Rudy, at the start of the show. So I'm hearing Titus Howard, right guard, Trent Brown, right tackle. But they make a lot of these final decisions at the last minute, meaning like tonight. But during the week, that was the plan. Plans change a bunch of times in the final 24 hours before they do it. They think it over. They do that kind of thing. Yeah, Tank, he caught a couple passes. Tank's been running for a long time, but it's not an indicator of anything for this year. It's about next year. But sorry, I missed that question. You stand a chance? Yeah, you got a chance. The Bills are not unbeatable. They just lost to the Miami Dolphins. Of course you have a chance. They're going to have to truck the Bills. This needs to be a heavy-duty night for Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. Downhill. What up, Corey? Yeah, I think Mills will play more safety than Bryant, but I think they're going to split it up some. You're going to have Bryant more at nickel. No, Nick. The plan is for him to do the best thing for his career, for his health, and to get ready for next year. I think they have enough at receiver anyway. Yeah. You guys know I taped that for those guys. I was a good sport about it and played it. And they wanted nothing going on with Joe Mixon. Paul, he's not ready. Won't be ready. Nothing has changed. Nick Caserio was actually being honest during that radio interview, and it's nothing that I haven't already reported. And I appreciate the tip at the beginning, man. That was nice. So the tip jar's open. So, yeah, super chats, all that stuff. Jimmy's a couple more weeks away, Drew. He's not ready to play. He had 2 foot surgeries. He had metal hardware inserted into his foot. It was a bad one. Thank you, Jeremiah. I appreciate it. I don't think my back is good enough to do a flip. I'm just way too stiff, but I appreciate it. I wish I could. If I could do a flip, I would. Special teams got to tighten up, Rollo. Yeah, they aren't looking that good. I think it's looking rough out there. But I think the kicking game is, at least they're making the kicks. Been decent punts from Tommy as far as pinning people. Okay punt returns from, the game obviously was a disaster against the Jaguars, almost cost them the game, but it tightened up a little bit last game. Thank you again, Chavez. I appreciate it, Jeremiah, that you believe that I could do a flip. I do have, I don't know if I ever told you guys this, so I have like 3 herniated discs. I have sciatica, so I've had some back pain most of the season. Not my first season having back pain, but it's been kind of rough ever since August. So I've been kind of limping around through the season. Yeah, that's East Carolina helmet. I was a football player for the Pirates, played linebacker. That's not my helmet, but that's just a replica. They let you keep the helmet back then. I think downhill, that's what they're talking about, Nick. They want to get downhill. They want to get, hat on a hat and make some plays. I thought I missed a question. Drew, who would be the starter when Ward comes out? Oh, would Jimmy start? I don't know. I mean, I think Jimmy's got a lot of rust. I don't think you can count on that just right away. Let's just see whenever he starts practicing again. I start to feel like more he's like an after Thanksgiving guy. Game plan, offense, run the football, take care of the football, protect the ball, some quick passes, lots of throws, high percentage ones to Nico Collins. Davis Mills, avoid sacks, be better in the red zone. Defense, defend the red zone better, not allow these long drives, these explosive plays. Tackle. Discipline rush angles against Josh Allen. Special teams, no errors, make all your kicks. Punt well, cover well. Affect field position with Jalen Noel. I asked this before. O-line prediction is Ariante Ursary, Jarrett Patterson, Jake Andrews, and Titus Howard, and Trent Brown. Jumbo tackle is Blake Fisher. It doesn't look like Jalen Noel's going to play more snaps than Kirk. I don't know. They just haven't been willing to do that so far, Rudy. Maybe it changes. It's definitely changed a lot, right, Miles? Woody's like RB1 now. Well, they could try that, Roberto. They could also try having, Cole Popovich pick the lineman if he's the one that's going to coach them. He's under contract. I don't know. They just don't seem like they're really that inclined, Drew, to play Noel yet. Kirk is a very experienced wide receiver, but he's not creating a lot of separation. A difference maker. A little bit of a sleeper on defense, but Tommy Togiai seems making some plays in the backfield on James Cook. On offense, kind of starting to feel like might be a Dalton Schultz kind of game. With Josh, you have to keep outside contain. You need to cut off, squeeze the sideline, make it hard for him to cut back, make it hard for him to, get any one-on-one situations where he can usually win those. what works for them, Nick, is outside runs most of the time, not downhill running. They don't seem to be a offensive line that's going to really budge people that much. Titus could throw the ball 65, 70 yards, according to Davis Mills. I've seen him chuck it a few times. He does throw well. I think less yards this game, Drew, against a really good pass defense. Maybe it's more like 170 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, maybe about 55% accuracy. I'm just guessing. No, I don't know if he's benched there. I would say that he got injured. He's participating fully. He's still got a gigantic knee brace and wrap on the knee, and I just don't think they feel on a short week taking any chances. Look at all the injury decisions. They're not taking any chances. The only one they're really letting play hurt is Dalton Schultz with a bad shoulder. Paul, it'd be great to see them beat the Bills. Wouldn't shock me if they did it again. I think it's going to be a close football game. I'm not sure if they're going to win. Absolutely. And, one thing about football, it's not just for guys. It's for women. My mom actually taught me a lot about football, and she was a huge Redskins fan. She always wanted to go to the games. My dad was into it, but not as much as she was. She was the one that always bought the season ticket. So I grew up watching some really outstanding, football. Watching, players like Darryl Green and Joe Theismann and Doug Williams, and the receivers, they called them the Smurfs. There's some good receivers, and Art Monk, and a great offensive line. So yeah, that's kind of what got me into football. What got me into journalism. I was a newspaper boy delivering the Washington Post. So I would deliver the Washington Post, and I would read the paper, and I started thinking about, if I could write an article like these guys, and really enjoyed English class and played football at East Carolina, wrote for the school newspaper, got a bunch of internships, moved all over the country, started covering the Ravens at some point, and that's what kind of got me into this thing. And then 30 years later, I'm still doing it. Thanks, Hector. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, right? That's right. Having fun. Colts game is a big, big deal, and the rest should help these guys. I wouldn't necessarily feel like, Nick, no offense to the Bills, I don't think they need to shadow Derek Stingley Jr. with anybody, and I don't like that strategy necessarily for this game. I would just, whoever's lines up, cover that guy. Sounds like no Keon Coleman, by the way, and I actually know Keon because he trains in Houston with Justin Allen, and was there when they were running some hills this summer. He didn't want to do any interviews and wasn't super friendly. And now he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, so he's not playing. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Bertrand. Yeah, that's a great story. That's awesome. Christian Harris question. Christian had a lingering calf injury. He aggravated the calf injury. It just took way too long for him to get back out there. And, by that time, they'd already signed DJ Speed. They like Henry Toto. Of course, Aziz Al-Shire. There's just no spot for him. They should have traded him, but he was actually injured, had a shin injury when they maybe could have dumped him. I don't know if anybody wanted him, though. Things happen. Sometimes injuries affect the track of people's careers. Yes, Keon's supposed to miss the game again. That's what is being reported. That Keon Coleman will be a healthy scratch. Got my iced tea, guys. Post dinner. Thanks to my wife for a great dinner that I ate very fast after I went to the gym. Got back here to talk to you guys. So I'm having some fun. The Bills, they ruled out McCole Hardman, with Dalton Kincaid. Those are just a couple of the ones that they ruled out on their injury report. I'll pull it up. Let me get this right. This was from earlier this afternoon. The injuries. I'll just run it down for you guys. We'll talk injuries for a second here. Out for Buffalo. Dalton Kincaid, hamstring. Curtis Samuel, elbow and neck. And Mecole Hardman. And Khalil Shakur didn't practice because of personal reasons. I don't know what those are. That's why they call him personal. But it doesn't look like he's going to play. But they did get full participation from Christian Benford, Terrell Bernard, Joey Bosa, Teron Johnson, Daquan Jones, Connor McGovern, Josh Palmer, Jordan Phillips, Jordan Poyer, Shaq Thompson, Dorian Williams. So some guys got healthy at the end. Just like for the Texans, full participation, Azeez Al-Shire, Will Anderson Jr., Denico Autry, Braxton Berrios, Trent Brown, who broke his finger, played through it, broke his middle finger. Tough guy. Miles Bryant, Nico Collins, Kaimi Fairburn, Jake Hansen, Titus Howard, Ed Ingram, Davis Mills, Dalton Schultz, Cade Stover, all full participants. And ruled out, as you guys know, C.J. Stroud and Jalen Petrie with concussions and Jamal Hill with a hamstring. They have Gabe Davis back, so I could see that, being a factor for Buffalo, that they could go with Gabe, and he's pretty good, right? You could see them going in that direction. Shakur, it does say he has no status, but he did miss practice. He hasn't practiced all week, so that's not good. He's had some kind of personal thing. But it says has no status. That is right. But he still didn't practice. He's in a major doghouse. They don't like his attitude. They don't like the way he's playing. Guy that will be involved, a couple guys besides Khalil Shakur, like who we said is expected to play, Tyrell Shavers and Joshua Palmer. Josh is a big receiver. They have a good left tackle in Deion Dawkins. They love to run the ball with James Cook. And, they're a physical football team. I know what's going on with Joe Mixon. Joe worsened his foot and ankle situation, had procedures, not surgical, that did not work, including the electromagnetic therapy, was getting a lack of blood flow. And at one point he was making progress, and then the progress stopped. And so it's been a very frustrating situation. It was described to me by sources as difficult and complicated, Curtis. I think you guys just have to accept this. I've said this a few times on these chats. He's not playing. Just got to give up on it. Got to move on. Oh, baby? Okay. Yeah, I'm not tracking it closely. Thanks, Sarah, for the update. But, paternity leave. I'm sure he'll be here and play. They're already here. I'm sure he's on the trip. I mean, there's no guaranteed money, Drew, so yeah, I would think they would move on. They really like what he did last year. That's why they've been so sensitive about it and reluctant to talk about it. And that's sort of a sore point. It's frustrating for the team, too. It's more frustrating for Joe than anybody else, obviously. It's Joe's career. And Joe was such a stand-up guy with the media that we gave him the Good Guy Award last year, and appreciate what he did as far as giving his time and being insightful and keeping it real with us. But time marches on. He's not healthy, so it's like next man up. You have to move on. You can't dwell. I mean, you can, but I don't dwell. I move on. Dre, based on what I was hearing, Ariane Ursary, and I've said this a couple of times, we'll have Jarrett Patterson. The expectation. That was the plan during the practice week. Sometimes they flip it, though, on the night before the game. It has happened that way. And then Jake Andrews, Titus Howard right guard, right tackle Trent Brown, jumbo tackle Blake Fisher. I mean, Joe was respected, is respected. It's not Republican content. We're not talking politics. Come on, man. Funny. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, don't talk politics. I think they're going to have to get another running back. That Notre Dame running back, you'd have to trade up for him. It's, going to be tough. Tough to get him. I don't think you want to set your heart on a running back. I don't think that's Nick Caserio's style. I don't think he values the running back position that way. Look at how he, didn't get into. He was in a bidding war for Saquon. He's about $2 million lower than the Eagles' offers, and he bowed out. James, I've repeated the offensive line about 5 times. I don't understand the frustration for you guys that, and you can't take the organization and what they do and what they say at face value. You got to be analytical thinkers about what they're talking about. You got to understand that they don't tell you or the media or the fans exactly what you want to hear. They're not going to just spell it out. That's why it takes reporters like me to dig out the answers and to give you the truth. You can't count. I'm not calling them liars. I'm just telling you that they're not going to volunteer and just be an open book for you. They don't owe you an answer. And that might bother some people, maybe bother some media. It's what it is. That's the reality. They do what they want. It's their football team. They're going to follow the rules as far as injury reporting and the amount of disclosure they have to give. They feel like they've probably already given more than they want to. They got to answer. They ask a lot of questions about it. They don't want to talk about it. All good, James. Maybe I'll recap at the end. How about that? And we'll go up to about at least another 30 minutes or so. I think that the high percentage throws for Davis, getting the ball out of his hands, I think that works for what Davis likes to do. It's just offense that really fits him very well. It's a lot of high percentage throws. Oh yeah, I'm ready for the game. Rest up. Have some more videos. I've got a long preview video for people who want to check that out. That's up. And of course, we'll have this, and we have video from yesterday as well. And lots of shorts. I don't know if they'll do both the contracts in the same offseason. I think the momentum will be there to do it. I think they got to make a decision on how do they value CJ. Are they going to pay him like a Dak Prescott level? Jordan Love? How are they going to do it? Jamal's injury, he told me it's not that bad. He isn't a sleeve. He's not limping that bad. They would have IR'd him if it was really bad. I think he's just a week-to-week kind of deal. I don't know if he'll be able to practice next week, but he's not moving that bad. You're welcome. Appreciate that. Yeah, I would definitely. When we're talking about Will Anderson money, we're talking about like an Aiden Hutchinson kind of deal, I believe. It's going to be very expensive. He's worth it. Think about all the positive plays that Will Anderson piles up. Guy's a game wrecker. Total ass kicker. What's his defense like without him? I don't think they're as special. You could make the argument that he's just as valuable as Derek Stingley Jr., if not more. Jimmy's supposed to be back in a couple of weeks. They've been taking their time with it. He did have 2 off-season foot surgeries. No, I don't think he's back from the Colts game. If he practiced, I don't think they would let him play. He's missed a ton of time. I think it's all about the stretch run. December, January football. If there is January football. You talking about Danielle Hunter? He's under contract. I don't think they're moving on. It's all guaranteed. It's a total of $54.1 million of the $55 million that he earns this year and next year is fully guaranteed. He's going to be here. Well, CJ's made some plays. CJ's held the ball a little long sometimes. I think that, Kaylee is calling some better plays. You're right, James. That's a good point. This is just a very tailor-made situation for Davis to walk into. But overall, CJ, I don't think there's any quarterback controversy. He might want to start that. They just like controversies, but, CJ's the starter. They can't wait to get him back out there. Yeah, Nick, he was extended last year. This is just a plain black iced tea, no sugar in it. Yeah, I don't really drink much at all. But yeah, this is not a drink, not an alcoholic drink. Got a little bit hoarse from being out in the cold in Nashville. I was outside for a couple hours making videos, including my YouTube videos for you guys and my videos for Sports Sunday. And yeah, it was definitely cold out there compared to Texas. Yeah. I haven't really been 100%. I did an up and back trip. I flew up 7:30 in the morning to Nashville, went right to the stadium, made it there by about 10 o'clock, and then covered the game. And I was on the 10 o'clock flight home. Got a great dinner at a restaurant called the Southern Steak and Oyster Bar. Really, really good restaurant. My buddy's a NFL agent, represents coaches, including Mike McCoy and some other coaches around the NFL. It was good to catch up with him. Yeah, great city. Used to live there a long time ago. In 1999, covering the Titans and covered high schools, covered the team that came up a yard shy against the St. Louis Rams. Kevin Dyson needed one more yard. And that was before I covered the Ravens. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've got a membership club. Yeah, thanks, James, for bringing that up. All the support is means a lot to me. We're at 20,500 and change. It's getting to be a much bigger channel, and we're welcoming any sponsors. Anybody wants to support the channel, and of course, what you guys do by watching and liking. That's the most important thing: watching, liking, subscribing, all that sort of stuff. That really helps. Yeah, I don't think they're going to fire Kaylee, Brando. Yeah, I think that Kaylee will be back. I think Kaylee's shown potential. If anything, I think there's an upside still. Yeah, some people want him out, some people don't. I don't. I tend to go off of what will I think they'll do. I think they'll stick with him. They'll try to improve the personnel and offense to make his job easier. But it's not like he's not bright or he's stubborn. He makes changes. He was stubborn for a while, especially in red zone. And he made some changes, hitting some outside plays, using some motion. He's got to get better. He's improving. He's not great, but they see an upside. They like his personality, they like the way he deals with people. All those things matter. Yeah, I know, Nick. I think he stopped that. I think he's starting to get better. Remember some of the cool plays he runs sometimes, like the misdirection to Jalen Noel for the touchdown against Baltimore. The pitch out to Woody Marks in the red zone. Sometimes he runs some good stuff. They do not want to move on from him, I can tell you that. They want to make this work. I think it is starting to work without great personnel. They might do it one of these days. I don't know. For some reason, the coaches don't want to play Noel. Maybe it's the money they're spending on Kirk. Who knows? He's making a lot of money. I just don't think, Nick, I like to do this exercise for all of you guys. I want you to hear me out on this. Who's a starter for the majority of the other teams from this offense? C.J. Stroud, middle of the pack quarterback, starts for most of the teams, correct? Titus Howard would start for most of the teams. Nico Collins would start for most teams. Would he be the number one receiver as far as teams that have a top 10 wide receiver, like a Justin Jefferson? No, he wouldn't. So, you just have to look at that and say, most of our guys are backups for a really good team. So you got to improve that. You don't have a lot of guys that I would say are elite. What's elite about the Texans offense? Why would you think it'd be any better than what it is? Kirk is just under a 1-year contract. They restructured it. There's voidable years. I don't know, Drew. They weren't even in on the best offensive lineman. I was checking out all of that stuff the whole offseason. I was told, don't worry about Will Fries. Don't worry about James Daniels. Don't worry about Patrick McCarry. They weren't doing that stuff. No, I don't think they'll re-sign Kirk. The plan is for him not to start tomorrow. The plan during the week has been Titus Howard, right guard, right tackle, Trent Brown. If it changes, then it's changing tonight, but I don't think he's going to play. He's still in a huge knee brace, Neptune. He's hurt. Even though he's full participant, he's not 100%. We'll see how they handle that, Nick. Yeah, there'll be a lot of change. The offense is going to change a bunch. The wheel just keeps spinning. Spinning around like the world. I think he'll be here, Rudy. I don't think they're looking to fire someone that's under contract for 3 more years. Yes, the coaching change was to promote Cole Popovich to head offensive line coach from assistant offensive line coach, and to give him a run game coordinator title too. You know, Trent's 6'8", he probably weighs like 400 pounds. Big, strong guy. They like what he does. I doubt it. I think they move on from Joe unless he gets a clean bill of health somehow, like a medical miracle. I don't think they can count on that. Like I said, guys, a couple of you kicked in. Tip jar is open. I'll sing for my supper here. Already cleaned my plate right before this chat started. Meatloaf, some orzo, and some spinach. So fairly tasty dinner. Dalton's good to go. His shoulder hurts. I think you're asking maybe about next year. I think they'd want to come back with him. I don't think they want to cut Dalton. Dalton showed them a lot of heart and toughness and grit. And I don't think that Kate Stover is a better receiver than Dalton. She just want to retool the tight end position altogether. A couple programming notes, guys. Obviously, after the game, we'll have locker room interviews. We'll have reaction. I'll have videos. It will be obviously in the evening for anybody that wants to tune in. We'll get all that done. Brevin tore his patellar tendon. I don't know if everybody knew that. It wasn't an ACL. It was a torn patellar tendon. I think they could give him a chance to come back to camp. He's working very hard. He's actually pretty healthy and moving well. I can see him coming back. Lots of people in here. Lots of the same people asking questions. Let's move it around, guys. Everybody gets a chance. Whatever you want to know about, I'll try to answer all your questions. They're going to need to improve the offensive line. If they just come back, that's a half measure. If they bring back the same line, they've got to improve the line. I think they need, like you say, big play guys. Need a really, really good running back to go with Woody Marks. Yeah, CJ's back next week. Absolutely. 100%. He's back. What's up? Yo, back. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, we got a good channel here. We got some good questions, some good support. It's been fun growing the channel. This thing started October 13th last year with 0 people, of course. And now it's 20,500 and change. Biggest local Texans channel. So appreciate all the support. I mean, Ed's going to have... thanks, James, for joining, becoming a member. Appreciate that. Man, you got a member sign up. That's awesome. Ed's interested in coming back. He wants to come back. It's going to come down to what number they can agree on for Ed. I think that it's in the cards. But, I'm going to see what can he get on the open market. But his agent, Nicole Lynn, has a very good relationship with this front office. She has Will Anderson Jr. here and other players. I could see it happening. And with a full off season, can make it happen. Trent Brown wants to come back too. He's from Bastrop, has a ranch out there. He'd like to be here. Yep. And anybody wants to join James, there's a membership club. and help support the channel, everything I'm doing here. I don't know, Nick. She's got a fiduciary responsibility to all of our clients, Ed Ingram and Will Anderson Jr. Johnny Carter is a real athlete. He's also put on some muscle. He's about 6'3", 195, University of Houston guy, North Shore grad. Caught a big-time touchdown against Duncanville in the playoffs when he was at North Shore. Moved to corner, first at Utah State, then played it for the University of Houston, was with the Kansas City Chiefs briefly. He's a really good athlete. He's been getting a lot of praise behind the scenes from Nick Caserio. He's doing a good job. I don't know that Trent Brown has a lot of years left, but he says he does. Damone is a downhill type linebacker, 6'3", 240, pretty good hitter. Someone that can tackle, I think, pretty well. But a little bit of a concern that he's not starting, for the Cowboys, which have had some really weak linebacker play, right? Yeah, it's an opportunity. We'll see how he does. Yeah, North Shore's a great program. They've produced Upton Stout this year with the 49ers. They have a lot of guys in the NFL. Devin Sanchez will be a first-round draft pick. Mark my words one day. Ohio State Buckeye corner. He's already represented by David Mulugeta. He's planned ahead. Got him when he was a freshman for the Buckeyes, and he'll be a great player. And just a really, really proud program over there at North Shore. A lot of talent. And sometimes that talent comes home, like it did with Johnny Carter with the Houston Texans. In elevation. It's a good agent. He has a lot of good football players, Nick. And with the best players, sometimes you got to go through the best agents. Guys like Drew Rosenhaus and David Mulugeta, Joel Siegel. Yeah, CJ is represented by David as well. He also has Deshaun Watson. He has a lot of guys. They could put Hill on IR. The injury is supposed to only take a couple weeks, though. It's not necessarily a 4-week injury. So we'll see. One roster move that is pending that was not announced is, I reported that this morning, known that since yesterday, that Damon Arnett Jr. was coming back. I don't think he's 100%, but he's coming back, and they'll get him healthy again and get him up for special teams and things like that. These things happen, guys. Injuries, it's 100% injury rate in football. So anybody, that's like still talking about Christian Harris, they have this 100 tackle year, you had the interceptions, the Browns. Yeah, that was yesterday. We're talking about today. Everything changes. Oh yeah, Texas Tech's a baller team. Best team that money can buy in Texas. Great boosters, great support. Really cool stuff going on in Lubbock. Shout out to the Red Raiders. Respect. And to the Cougs. Cougs are doing a good job. Not doing it quite like Texas Tech, but they're doing a good job, though. Some good things happening with Willie Fritz. Lots of good football. From high school to the pros. Like I said, guys, we'll go up to the hour. We got about 16 more minutes. I got plenty of time for more questions. So anybody that's there in the chat wants to chime in, I'll answer your question. Oh, yeah. Aggies are balling. Elko country. So for this game, and I outlined a lot of this in my preview. I encourage you to check that out. Discussed all the matchups, went over all the things: offense, defense, special teams. There's some player interviews in there that I attached, some practice footage, made the most out of a couple of days of access we did have to give you guys as much content as I could. I think it's definitely, it's like a 42-minute altogether video. So yeah, please check that out. They cut right. They added Damone Clark. They, I don't see anyone really necessarily going to the 53 other than maybe Jimmy Ward. Tank's next year. Some of that earlier. Tank is next year, not this year. That's the plan. Plans can always change, but that is the plan. Let him get all the way healthy and ready for next year. Outlook is good, though. Good recovery. Worked really hard. It was cool to see him catch a couple passes from ZJ. That was a nice moment at practice. I don't see any real value in trading Juice, maybe like a pick swap. I think Jared Patterson they want to have around. Sarah. Just hasn't worked out. They don't want to play Juice. For him not to, a second round pick not to be playing, that's a real indictment actually of Nick's drafting. And they traded up for Juice too. You guys remember that. I think eventually, I mean, they're going to have to when they run out of the elevations for Jalen, so he's a candidate for that. Absolutely. It was a lingering oblique injury. I didn't think it affected his mobility early in the season. I think he's moving fine now. I think they haven't listed in a while, so I think he's okay. I do think Nick Cassero will be back and Nick Haley. I don't think they're moving on from Toa. They just reduced his playing time. I could see EJ Speed signing a new contract actually this offseason. Texans need help. Offensive line. I think they need to get even better at wide receiver. I think they need to look at safety. Necessarily think they're the S down as they could be at the safety position. I think you also need to look at linebacker and defensive tackle. Running back. I should have said that earlier. Right off the bat, after offensive line, but running back, for sure. Best guy's got to play. At least it's a meritocracy, Drew. At least they don't make the coaching staff play next draft picks that don't work. It's really bad. Sidney Sow, his name is Sidney, not Sydney. It was bad that he was out there. He shouldn't have been playing. That was another personnel mistake. They got to do a better job evaluating their own personnel. I still think you need more help at defense. You need to see what Jalen Reed can do. If Jalen is someone that can be a future starter, or if they think he's just a backup, they need to kind of figure out that evaluation as well. D-tackle is going to be changing. You're going to have some change there. Kalen Bullock has been up and down this season. I think that he's still a starter, but you need another starter to go with him. EJ is very rangy, very fast, good attitude, likes it here. Played at Charleston State, grew up in Fort Worth. I think that if they ever established him as a full-time linebacker, I think he'd play even better. I could see Aziz getting extension. Yeah, I think that they're still feel good about Aziz. He's played a lot this year. He's been healthy. He still adds a lot. I don't know if Settle and the Texans are necessarily have the same financial expectations, unless they see the numbers the same way. I could see Tim cashing in as a free agent. But he does like it here, so we'll see what they come up with. That's one to watch, but that's nothing like... I could see Tommy Townsend getting extended. That's possible. He hasn't been as productive as last year. He makes plays, though. He can play. There's still some confidence in Settle. Like I said, guys, we'll go up to the hour, so wants to chime in with more questions. I don't know. I mean, I think Sheldon has kind of year to year at this point. I think he's still got some gas left in the tank. He saw that touchdown. It hasn't been a great season. It's been a pretty good season. He's playing well. Foley is getting closer. I could see Foley coming back at some point toward the end of the year, but I don't know if they need him. Yeah, Mario has been disappointing. I don't know what happened, but the way he played last year is not the way he's played this year. Hasn't been very good. No, they're not going to continue to start Davis even if he's 3-0. They're going to go back to C.J. Stroud. That is the plan. It won't be impacted by this game, win or lose. Yes, I think Nick Caserio is back, barring like some kind of crazy collapse, or who's the replacement? What can you get instead of him? Yeah, it's been a real quiet year for Mario, but he is under contract for next year with some guarantees. We'll see how they handle that. The Tommy Togiai extension looks a lot better than the Mario Edwards Jr. extension, that's for sure. Makes me wonder if they should just make Tommy a starter. All he does is make plays. By the way, I removed it, but that was a rude comment. I didn't like that. What's the point in making a comment like that? The trolls. Trying to get a troll-free zone. Last week we had a little racism incident. A guy dropping the N-word right off the bat. So I had to kick him out. I think, Togiai will be around, but they're going to have to make a lot of changes. He's their running back one, but I think they can do better. I think he's in a playtime sharing situation is what it's going to be. I think that's how they kind of envision backfields. 2 backs. Unless you have a guy like a Joe Mixon, and they don't have him, and he won't have him, that's what happens. Yeah, Nick, they'll be in okay financial shape. Hey, there's Shannon. Welcome to the chat. I think they'll be okay financially. They're I think, projected in the middle of the pack, middle to lower for cap space, but you can always create more. They're good at that, at managing the money. Appreciate everybody that's hit the tip jar. That's awesome. And we also had a new member in James Butler. James, welcome to the membership club. All right, James. Thanks a lot. You have a good night. Enjoy the game. Like I said, we got time for more questions. Anybody wants to? Yeah, Jake Hansen. He earned it. This is backup contracts. This isn't big money. But, Jake, Tommy Togiai, I could see a Tommy Townsend contract making some sense. Yeah, we do. We stand on business, the Wilsons. Night, Paul. I see a lot of change, I think, especially on offense coming. I don't think they're going to just say, we're going to run it back with this crew, and we think just hope it'll be better. No, they'll be making changes. They're going to invest in the offense. That's going to be something that's going to be insisted upon by the McNairs, by the D'Amico Ryans, the Kaylee. Caserio will get it. I don't know why they took the approach they did to the offense this offseason, but it was not enough, right? And imagine if they'd had Stephon Diggs back. That would have made a lot of sense to me. I don't think trading Larry Tunsil was a good idea. Hindsight 2020. Sure. But with Neiman, and I think a lot of times what happens, with these moves, they're not made in a vacuum in the sense of they make the move and then they get something else. With Neiman, it was just, I think, an overreaction to get him, and that he didn't move very well. I think they thought he was going to move a lot better than that. I think Titus could get an extension. Absolutely. I think he's going to get help. I think Popovich is going to be pretty hands-on with the offensive line evaluations. Got to get him the players he wants to coach. It was bad. Yeah, moving on from Diggs didn't make sense. Just got to do better. Got to aim higher. Higher standards. Aim high. Don't just have this it's good enough half measure approach. There's been too much of that. Titus's guarantees are up, yeah, but they'll have to write some new paper if they want to get that done. I think there's a chance that they can make some changes. They have brought back everybody, the Ben McDaniels, the Danny Barretts, of course, Jake Moreland at tight ends coach, who's new to the D'Amico staff. But, yeah, I think there could be some changes. Contracts may dictate some of that. They could have made the room, Drew. They could have. He had sort of bad timing with a lawsuit, too, as well, where he sued a girl that was going to sue him. Kent Schaefer filed that lawsuit. He was a little messy, the Cardi B, all that kind of stuff. Just a little messy. Always, kind of in some little bit of drama. I think he annoyed them with the little vendetta with Jair Alexander, the Green Bay game. That didn't sit well with the organization at all. Remember, the lawsuit was breaking. I was reporting on that during the NFL scouting combine. But yeah, they don't like that kind of stuff when a player has any kind of off-field stuff. So it doesn't lend itself to a deal. But he's been great for New England. Been a real leader on off the field. Hearing really good reports out of New England with what he's been doing. The personalities last year, though, I thought it worked. It was a little spicy sometimes, but it wasn't like they had big conflicts. I thought everybody got along well. There was respect shown, respect to the media. We didn't have one issue with Stephon Diggs, with Joe Mixon. Joe had some ups and downs with Cincinnati people. We gave him the Good Guy Award. That's the media award for cooperation. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're really close. Jimmy Ward, D'Amico Ryans. But this is going to be his last year playing, I'm told. He's 35, so I don't know if they're going to go forward, but he was exonerated in his domestic violence case. And later optimistic. Yeah, catch you next week. Thank you for coming through. But it was health is what's keeping him out now, not legal. He is still in an active lawsuit, but that's about money, not necessarily, he's not in any criminal jeopardy now. That case was no billed, meaning not indicted. I don't think they would replace Ursher. I think they're going to take a long, big picture approach with him. I think he's going to be the guy. They could come back with him, Titus, possibly Andrews, Ingram. We'll see. He is exactly 35 years old. Yes, that's right, Nick. Jimmy Ward. Time for a couple more questions. Ursher has his ups and downs, and he didn't play very well last game. He was upset about how he played. Well, Curtis, I don't know. I mean, they could just throw everybody out. I think that Titus. Oh, that's fair. I'll say this. I think Titus deserves to be back. I don't think you can get rid of Ursher and just, I think he deserves a new contract. I don't think you can just dump Ursher. Ingram, it's up in the air whether they will negotiate a deal with him. I think they would change out guard. They could even change out center. It's easy to talk yourself into anything, Drew. It's easy for us to talk about changing everything. It's tougher for them to actually do it and pull the trigger. But I think they have to have these tough conversations about the offensive line. What's good enough? It would be obviously easy to run it back contractually with a lot of these guys, but they need to get better. Of course, if they drafted Linderbaum instead of Kenyon Green, they wouldn't have an issue at center. Just saying. Looks like I got a couple last second ones. If anybody's got any ones here in the last minute, happy to answer them. Or if anybody wants to throw something in the tip jar, hint, hint, I'll take it. If anybody wants to pay me for my time, I appreciate it. Oh yeah, Nick, they gotta look at the interior offensive line. It's not good. Definitely not good enough. It's passable. That's the way I would put it. Passable. They can get by sometimes with it. But, when they need a tough yard, how are they going to get? And now CJ, where the Bears let him play the way he wants to play, he's got 3 sacks. How about that? Texans didn't want to let him play his defense, but it works for the Bears. Just playing kind of a freelance hero backer kind of position up there in the Windy City. The monster of the Midway, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Always a misfit here, misfit sometimes in Philadelphia, a fit with the Chicago Bears. Sometimes change of scenery gets it done. Guys, a couple more minutes here. I'll say a couple more. Just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to, if they have a last question, to have it go in. And of course, there'll be a replay of this. Then we'll have coverage throughout the day and after the game. Definitely going to be up late. It'll be fun though. Should be a really electric atmosphere. We'll see if they show up for this primetime game. They got to play better than they did. Obviously, the Christmas game, the Monday night game against Tampa Bay. This time, they got to show up and show out. As Lovie Smith used to say that. I agree with that. All right, guys. Anybody else want a couple last questions, or if not, I'll wrap. I want to give you guys a chance. I don't want to they feel shortchanged or that they didn't have a chance to talk or express themselves or chime in with their opinions. Happy to hear from you. It's like I said, it's for everybody. It's the guys that are talking, they're going to get the most feedback from me. But you're welcome, Drew. Thanks for all the great questions and thoughts. Got some really, really smart people that were here tonight. Good group. So I appreciate it. They can win it. I agree with that, Drew. They can. We just don't know if they will. That's why they play the games. It's definitely no lock that they'll win the game, but they got a shot. They're an underdog. I think that's fair given the record and everything. But last year they really did stymie the great Josh Allen, the MVP. You're welcome, Nick. Yeah, happy to give you what I can. All right, guys. This is for my last minute here. My last minute. If you got a question, I'll answer it. If not, I'll wrap. So I just wanted to be fair and give everybody a chance to get in under the buzzer. Yeah, they got to be better in the red zone. Absolutely front runner. Red zone is improved against the Jacksonville Jaguars 4-for-5, and then they took another step back against the awful Tennessee Titans. Yeah, absolutely, Nick. I hope so. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the members, everybody that's joined. James Butler, a new member. Thanks for the guys that tipped, guys and girls. Appreciate that. Tip jar's always open. Just like I'm your bartender. Since I'm serving up drinks, serving up football knowledge. Scoops, yeah. Last scoop is Damon Arnett Jr. Back with the Texans. Practice squad. Visited here today. Already's got a signed copy of a contract, and now they go forward with him on the practice squad. D'Angelo Ross joins the Cleveland Browns. As you guys know, Matthew Wright no longer on the Texans because Kyrie Fairburn is healthy, ready to go. And the 49ers move on with their kicking situation with Matt Gay. They didn't have a chance for Matthew Wright to get involved in that kicker tryout, but I'm sure he'll be in some other kicker tryouts. And he's always a call away if Kyrie has problems with his quadriceps again. And then, as you guys know, C.J. Stroud, Jalen Petrie are out. I talked about what the offensive line was during the week. We'll see, does it change between now and game time? It has changed before in the last 24 hours. I think Jaime, I watched him. He looks good to go, Nick. He should be fine. Absolutely. Thanks, Shaquille. All right, guys. Great hour and 5 minutes. Enjoyed it. Thanks to everybody that was here. And appreciate all the support. A lot of fun. And like I said, the channel, we're going places. I think it's just too distracting, and it's frustrating for Joe, to answer that last question about, to be out there and then you're not going to play. I think that's tough on him. I don't think Miles Bryant and those guys play like Petrie. I'm not sure if there's another guy. Petrie's a sort of a unique kind of unicorn that plays the nickel position in a different kind of way. Like a small linebacker out there. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Talk to you guys soon.